Last week, Richmond, a very tough opponent. I said it after the Women Mary game that I thought they'd probably be the best team we played all year, and I still think that after playing them, they had a very good team. Offensively, they was explosive and powerful. Defense, it's tough. It was tough to run on them. They had 4 defensive linemen and 1 linebacker. They only had 5 in the box, and normally that's a feast to rush against, but we couldn't muster any rushing yards against them. We rushed outside on them a little bit. I think we had more rushing yards than we did all year, but it wasn't the type of rushing yards that we wanted. And, the University of UVA couldn't run on them. And so we knew it would be tough running on them. And then they passing game scheme. They have the 3 linebackers and the 4 guys in the secondary, and they try to keep those guys back and don't get beat deep and keep everything in front of them. And when you try to force that ball down the field, that's why they led the nation in picks 2 years ago, and I think it was 8th last year. But now you're playing right into their hands. So they got a very good scheme defensively, but the key to that is those men they got up front, those 4 guys, 5 guys they got up front that can stop the running game and force you to throw the ball. And you got to try to nickel and dime them, and you can do that, but you got to not turn the ball over. You got to be disciplined enough to not get a sack, not have a blown assignment. Because if you do, that's going to kill the drive because you can't really force the ball down the field on those guys. They did a great job of not letting us get the ball down the field. So I think, I thought we was in the game, played a good first half, not a great first half, but we had the ball coming out the second half when we started the drive, got in their territory. And, one of our guys just pushed one of their guys off our guys that he thought was a little too excessive on the bottom of the pile, and the guy flopped, and they threw a 15-yard penalty on us, and now we got second and 23, and they kind of killed the momentum, killed the drive, and I thought we had a good chance if we could get that ball in the end zone, make it 21-17. We got a new ball game, and we got that penalty there, and that cost us, and that's what I'm talking about. What their defense do to you, it forces you to sustain drives, and you can't make a mistake, get a sack, a big penalty like that to kill the drive, and they really killed our momentum because after we got stopped, we got another penalty the next play, and then we punted the ball, and they gashed us for a 60-yard run the next play. And so, we go from possibly making it a 4-point game to being down 28-10, 3 scores, and we just never recovered from that. And so that was pretty much the story of last week's game.
What do you know about this week's opponent, Miles?
Well, Miles, they got D2 program, got a good program down in Alabama. They made the playoffs last year. I think they're 2-0 this year, aren't they? 1-1. Yeah, they got shut out the first game and beat Shaw. Beat Shaw the first game and lost West Georgia. So, to be honest with you, their D2 program, we got more bullets than they do. So. We expect to play well. It's really not about Miles. It's really about us this week and executing our game plan, offensively, defensively, special teams. And if we do that, we should come out on top. We got more scholarships than them. We got a few more bullets than they got. And, we should come out with a W this week if we do what we're supposed to. Now, lower-tier teams have beat upper-tier teams before. And so it's not no guarantee. You still got to be prepared and, you got to respect all and fear none. But if we come out and execute the way we're supposed to, not to disrespect Miles, but we should beat them.
Given the way the game the other night became kind of lopsided in the second half, but did you see improvement from week 2 to week 3 from your guys?
Well, I think the score went up. Our defensive score stayed the same. We had a couple of penalties. I think we had more penalties that game than we had all season. And, I told them, I told the referees that also. I said, y'all threw more flags than we had all year. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but, there's a lot of flags being thrown tonight. But, that's part of the game. And so we got a little sloppy in the penalty game and our discipline. So we got to get that correct and get it back down to a minimum of 4-5 penalties a game. I thought we executed a little better in the running game. Even though it's tough to run those guys, we kind of ran outside on them. That's where we thought we can get some yards is running outside on them. I think we got some yards running outside. And I knew it would be tough in the passing game to get the ball down the field on those guys. So we was trying to dink them, and then we weren't able to sustain drives. So I think so. I think the guys improved a little bit. I think like I said, I think it was a good ball game in the first half, and we had a chance right there in the opening drive of the second half to really make it a ball game. So I thought the guys was playing decent. They was playing okay. Could have been playing better, of course, but we was right there, and with a chance early in the third quarter to make it a real ball game. And so I'm pleased with that. We saw some good things, and then we also had some bad things. So we just got to correct those mistakes and minimize those making the same mistakes week in and week out, and that'll turn those losses into W's.
Hey, given, as you said, Miles, being a D2 program and you guys having more scholarships and resources and everything, if the game plays out the way you expect, then how will you measure progress?
Execution mistakes, the little things. Like I said, it's really not about Miles. It's about us, how we execute, getting lined up. Defense is alignment and assignment. Offense is executing, no mistakes, don't turn the ball over. That's what we're looking for in this ball game. We don't want to turn the ball over. We want to execute. We don't want any mentals, things of that nature. We know you're going to have some drops. You're going to miss a block or two. You're human. So that's to be expected. But we want to do the little things, take care of the football, don't blow any assignments, sure tackles, no missed tackles, things of that nature. Get lined up, be where you're supposed to be on the calls, and continue to get better at that, and get ready for conference play.
And given that there's a lot of optimism in preseason and camp and everything, and now you guys start 0-3, have you taken the temperature of the team, or what's kind of been the vibe or the mood the last couple of days?
I think the guys in a good move. We got to be realistic and take everything in perspective. This is right where everybody thought we would be, 0-3, playing those three teams. Nobody thought we was going to beat Richmond. Nobody thought we was going to beat William & Mary. Nobody thought we was going to beat ODU. And we didn't. But what we did, what people didn't think we was going to do, is we played with those guys, and we showed that we can move the ball, we can score. At times we can stop them, So we showed that we got potential to be a good football team. And so now we got to continue with that and start getting some W's, and we need to start this week with Miles and then get into conference play and continue to play good, solid football, and the W's will continue to come.
Do you have a quarterback controversy, or is because I saw where both JJ and Brian played the other night? Can you assess the quarterback situation? Yeah,
Jay Williamson's the quarterback. He got a big hit, and the trainers thought that he might have had some concussion symptoms, and but he was okay, and he was clear to go back in the game. But I chose to take him out because I didn't want him to get hit again, and I wanted to let Bailey play in a game situation to see what he was going to do under fire, live bullets. And so I held Jay out and let Bailey play. The game was a little out of hand at that time, so I figured I'd let Bailey get some reps and see what he do. And he did well. I mean, he missed some reads. If you look at it from your eye, he was 6 of 10 and 50-something yards, and had a couple good runs. But on those probably all those incomplete passes, he missed his read, and we had guys wide open. And then on the post throw, he threw it back over the guy's head, started leading him. The guy was wide open. The corner route, he was late on that. The guy was wide open. So, stat-wise, it looked like he played pretty good. But, after watching the tape, he really didn't play that well. And, that's just part of the game. And, his first game experience this year. And so, like the first pass, he bounced. Just a 3-step drop, throw it out there, hitch, and he bounced it. So we called the same play, and he completed it. So that's a little nerves there, That's to be expected. So I called the same play again. And, he played okay. He really did. And he played pretty much about like I expected him to play. He didn't play terrible. He didn't play great. He played, just decent. So I told those guys after the game, we don't have a quarterback controversy. I pulled Jay, for his protection. It's about the kids. I'm not going to get anybody hurt or injured. Even though he was cleared, they had some concerns. So I thought it was best that we just pulled him out. He didn't need to take another lick.
While JJ was still in the game, I noticed a couple of different wrinkles from him. You did have an option play that was at one point in the game, and then you also had him look to lie on trained eye, a couple of design runs for him. So I was wondering if that was going to be something we might see more of, more than just, is that something that might come in more than just once a game or in the future?
Oh yeah, we have all those things for him. We got the option, we got the quarterback draw, and we got the running back blocking for him, and it just depends on what the defense is doing. Because those guys both can run the ball and run the ball effective enough to get first downs and a little bit more. So we got some running plays in there for those guys. We got a quarterback counter, quarterback draw. We got a quarterback sweep. We got all those things in offense. We haven't used everything. We got to save some things in the pocket. So, but yeah, he can get that done. And you just got to try to keep teams off balance. You would like to show a lot of stuff and make them have to prepare for more things and make it harder for them to prepare. But you got to save some stuff too, so they won't be prepared for it.
Hey, I know I've asked you this before, but as young and inexperienced as you are on defense, and especially within the front seven with some of those freshmen and underclass guys and new guys, are you seeing, even with the level of competition, are you seeing some progress in those guys, or do you think they're still a little overwhelmed?
No, I think we're seeing some progress, Dave. We play some good football teams on the offensive side of the ball, and we've got 4 freshmen and 5 other guys the first time playing. That's like playing 9 freshmen, So it's just that they have more bullets than we do. Their programs are further along than ours, and so that's they just wear you down. You go into the game with 6 defensive linemen, you leave out the game with 4. And we got to play all 4 of those guys, so they just get wore down. And so you got guys playing in the fourth quarter, been playing the whole game, and you got 2 other guys can't even play anymore. We're just shorthanded right now, and we got to play with what we got, and see if we can't get it done, and then in the off season, hit the roads and get some more players in here.
You guys pretty healthy coming out of the other day? I mean, you talked about a couple of guys and all that stuff. Any significant injuries? I know you generally don't talk a lot about injuries. But.
Right. We got some guys out. We got a couple of receivers that's banged up, Mixon and Leon Shorter. We depend on those guys. We count on those guys heavily. Those guys played against ODU. Where, in the offense, in the passing game was clicking. And those guys are out. They've been out the last 2 games with Leon every game after ODU, and Mixon missed his last game. So, those are, I said it from day one that, we can be competitive if we can stay injury-free. And, it hasn't changed. If we can keep our first guys healthy, we can be competitive in the MEAC and the rest of the year. But we can't afford any injuries. We can't afford for Jay to go down or Washington to go down or any more receivers to go down or any more D linemen or DBs, or linebackers, offensive line. We can't afford any more injuries. We got to stay healthy, and that's tough to do. With a long football season, still got 9 games promised. We just got to keep fighting, stay in the weight room, and try to stay as strong as we can to stay away from injuries and be able to compete.
So given as thin as you are, then how do you balance getting them adequate work during the week and maybe backing guys off, getting them the proper amount of work, but trying to keep them healthy and fresh and everything for the rest of the grind of the season?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, Dave. We got our backup offensive line got to go down the scout team. So they need to be looking at the game plan, running the plays, but they got to go down and run other team plays because we're short on offensive line. Defensive line, they send us 2 guys down, and the rest of them got to stay down there because they got to go work on the game plan. So it's tough. it is what it is. We're not complaining. We got what we got, and we're going to make it work, and we just got to limit contact and learn how to practice when we do have a little contact to stay up and don't get your own guys hurt and practice smarter. And we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We got what we got, and like I said, we're going to be competitive. We're gonna have a shot to win every game we play from here on out.
Is it at all like, because, you coming from D2, is it a little bit like that where you have, limited bodies or limited scholarships, or did you have more depth at Winston?
Well, we had more depth. We had more bodies. You don't have a lot of walk-ons when you're at a private school because those guys got to pay. And you have a greater tendency to have more walk-ons at a public school that don't cost as much, and when you got to pay $32,000 to go to school, you're not going to have a lot of walk-ons. So that kind of limits our numbers a little bit in that aspect. But, we knew that coming in, and that's not going to change. So we're always going to be a little short-handed, and we just got to do what we got to do to get it done. And we will get it done with that being said. So it is what it is. We'll be all right. We just need a couple more recruiting classes, and we got a good football team. We got some good players here right now, and we're going to compete. We're going to compete every week. We have a shot to win every football game that we play from here on out.
I want to go back to the Richmond game for a moment. That targeting call against Barnett from Richmond happened pretty much right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering two things. One, what do you think of that particular call? And two, what do you think about the targeting rule as it's applied in the FCS, where there's not a lot of recourse as far as review like you have in the FBS?
Right. I think, first of all, the ref wasn't going to call it. I called it. The ref right beside me did like this, incomplete. I said, what are you talking about? I said, that's targeting. He was defenseless. That was a defenseless receiver, and he hit him in the back of the head. And they threw the flag. And they made the exact same call that I told him. I don't know if he didn't know what to call, but the guy was defenseless, and he hit him in the back of the head, helmet to helmet. And so that's targeting, and they threw him out of the game. And what I said, I thought about that rule is, I think that you shouldn't throw the guy out at that point. I think that you should go back and review it, and if you was correct on the call, you suspend him the next football game, not this football game. Because once you throw him out this game and you go back and look at it and you say, hold up, that wasn't targeting. Okay, you just cost this young man a college football game in the first quarter. What if that would have cost him the football game because he was out and he was one of their top players, and they lose the game, he lose a game of eligibility because you missed a call? That's not fair to the kid. Everything we do is for the kids. It's about the kids. It ain't about the coaches. It ain't about the officials. And that's where these coaches and officials get it twisted. They think it's about them. It's not about you. It's about that guy right out there. Don't get mad at me and punish them, and make a bad call. You punishing that. It's about these kids. It's not about me. It's not about you. The game is bigger than us. So call the game fair and make decisions that's fair for the kids. That's not fair to a kid that you're going to go back and review it and then say, okay, we was wrong. Okay, well, what about that game I missed? That's not fair. So you go back and say, okay, we was correct, so you're going to be suspended the next game. That's fair. And that can be changed. But for some reason, people don't want to change it. I don't know why. If that don't make sense, what does? Does that make sense to you, Dave?
Well, and especially at the FBS level now, they're talking about, because they have more resources and equipment and everything, they can review stuff now at halftime. They can go back and review those calls.
They can review it right on the spot.
Whereas
and
at the lower levels, at the FCS, D2, D3, all that stuff,
right,
there isn't, for the most part, there isn't ways to review.
Right. Well, everybody don't have the money to set up the replay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So FBS will replay that play, and they determined that it wasn't targeting. The 15-yard penalty stands, but he get to come back into the game. You see? So, I mean, that's fair, but at our level, it's not fair. It's not fair to the student athlete.
Yeah, from what I understood, at this level now, you can review at halftime.
Provided the equipment's there, but
right,
not all FCS programs.
Right, but then what happens in the second half?
Yeah.
then there's enough recourse there.
But that could cost you a game, it costs a young man a game, playing another game out of his career to play just because you missed a call. That's not fair. So it need to be looked at, something need to be done. You know, I'm no rocket science, but I think the right way to do it is after you review it and you find out that it was targeting, you suspend them the next game. And if it's the only person it could affect is a senior in his last game, then you review and say it was targeting where his career is over with. Okay. Well, we just got to bite the bullet on that one. But that's the only situation that you could be wrong and nothing happens.
Maybe you dock him a week's pay at his first job after school.
Yeah, you know, at Walmart. Subway. So that's my stand on the targeting rule. And
It's a good soapbox. I like that.
yeah, thanks, Dave.
Any more questions? Not? Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming.